as I journey on this road along with him. I'm seeing all that he has for me. Cause I love you so, I give my heart, I give my soul to you. There's no reason for me to ever worry. Yeah, he'll never leave you, he won't forsake you. He's not a man that he would lie. Take him at his word. As I journey on. Hey, Cyber World, as you can see, as always, I have my days, I have my moments, and then I have my moments. I'm working on getting myself better situated here where I don't have stuff everywhere. If you can really see this setup, it's a little crunch right now, but I'm in transition, so don't worry about it. Anyway, Trump's persecuted white South African refugees are heading home, saying life here in America is worse. Fleeing tyranny and needing asylum. Reality clashed hard with what they were promised. Their complaints were, it's too dangerous here. People are being shot in broad daylight. It's to say it's very, very hilarious. The cost of living. They like, that's it. We're out of here. It's like, that may put a little crimp in his, next part of the plan, which is to bring more South Africans here. I don't guess the ones who are going home are going to give us a favorable rating. America got a 0 rating. Okay. Anyway, Virginia lawmakers Monday passed a proposal. This is sad. This is where we are now. They had to pass a proposal that will require schools, if they teach students about the violent attack on the Capitol for January 6th, that they have to relay the facts of what actually happened without including misinformation, that the 2020 presidential election was stolen. Because I guess Trump and his minions and all of the cronyisms and people that he's nepotism putting in places decided that, they want this taught, just like they want the Charlie Kirk thing taught and all this other nonsense that they're putting out there. And, as if that propaganda is going to wash with any of us. But anyway, the people have had enough. They've said, you know what? Enough of your nonsense. We're going to create laws in our state that will not allow this to be taught without this being taught. So if you're going to teach about the Capitol riots, then you're going to teach about this, and we will not allow that misinformation. I guess that's why he wants to change the results of getting our voting records and things like that. But that's not what it's about. It's to put our voting records in the system so that Doge can weed out that when you go to vote the same place you've been voting all your life, all of a sudden you're not on the rolls. It's just an old flim-flam man, sleight of hand mess, just on a larger scale. I guess if you fall for it, whatever. Yeah, that's sad. We have to do that now. It's a little Black history fact for you. It's a Black woman. It's a story about a Black woman. Her name was Minnie Cox. And I'd never heard of this woman. She was the postmaster general, I believe. She was the first Black woman, I believe. She ran the post office so well, and she was appointed by FDR. And the white supremacists, they were disgusted. How could she do that? Because she was in the lead position. And, which is in 1891. I would not have wanted to be in her shoes. The pioneers that paved the way for us, what they must have gone through. So, of course, the intimidation came. Now, she's the boss. Running the post office better than it's ever been run before. They didn't care. I can have sloppy service. I don't care. And so, the threats and intimidation came. And so, of course, that's followed by violence. And she decided to get out of Dodge before that happened and quit. Well, FDR said, no, I said you're going to stay there. I'm not accepting your resignation. So he went to them to negotiate. And they decided they didn't want that N word. And he decided, well, then you don't want postal service at all. And he shut the whole facility down. And they had none. And they had to drive 30 miles to get their mail. Of course, the businesses were affected. Everything was affected. And eventually, they cried, "Uncle." And she held her job. Thank you, Minnie. And thank you, Theodore Roosevelt. Did I say FDR? I'm sorry. Theodore Roosevelt. I always do that a lot. Wow. Thank you, Minnie Cox. Anyway, we've been... As anybody know... Now, I live in Atlanta, Georgia now. I've been in Savannah for a while. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining me. We're having earthquakes or something. I mean, it feels like earthquakes. I felt an earthquake before when I lived in DC. We had the one earthquake that they had. And I was, kind of blown away. And the first time I felt it here, I'm like, are we on a fault line? I mean, I know that there are fault lines that run through Georgia, but I feel them here constantly. This is about the fifth one I've had since I've been. Well, thank you for the stars. Thank you so much. And so I but I always go online to thank you for the stars. I always go online to say, to look at it, check and see if it really happened. They don't list anything. I'm like, well, I know what I just felt. Nothing else makes the entire house shake with a loud boom. And I'm not talking like bomb boom. I'm talking like earth. It felt like okay, well, whatever. Anyway, they're not reporting it. I don't know what's going on. And have you also noticed that when you do Google searches, I was just talking to a friend this morning about the AI. I love the innovativeness of it and some of the artistry of it and the colors and the vibrancy. But the thing that I don't like about it, the downfall about it is I want to see a real story, not some funky computer generated story where you're telling a tale and a monotone that tell me what. I just turn them off. As soon as I figure out what it is, as soon as I hear it, the first thing I hear is the monotone. That's the dead giveaway because most of us, our voices have too much fluctuations than that. We don't talk like this in a constant. No, we don't do that. Okay. And then there are other ways to tell, like people that disappear in shadows and hands that have 5 fingers and all that kind of nonsense. But the irritation to me is as you're speaking and then as you're doing, by people putting out so much fake mess, it eats up your time because now you have to go back and verify so many stories. And if I can't see the fakeness in the video right away, then I've got to verify it in 2 or 3 sources, which is, kind of time consuming. And that's the only thing I don't like about it. But I noticed that when I'm doing the searches, Google's narrowing our searches. Now, I've been searching Google for a while because I'm a Google head. And normally when I do a Google search, there's stuff like just listed. They would include all the peripheral stuff, maybe cross-referenced information. You're looking at this, let's include this as well. All of that's gone. It's like the exact same thing. If they can't find that, there's nothing. They just have some, I'm like, I don't know what they did, but I'm just going to have to go back to the old-fashioned way of looking up stuff because that's a waste of my time. And there are things I looked up that I know should be there. I've looked up before. I've actually had to go back and get my old copy of things. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, I just let me know what you think about that because the searches are being restricted. I think they are and being, narrowed and directed, and you're deciding for me. Don't decide for me. Give me all of it that even might be closely related or not even, because I might want to look that up. I might want to figure out what that has to do that and what this was. So yeah, I don't like that new system at all. I think it's kind of censoring. I really do. Anyway, new documents are showing that Benjamin Yoho, the husband of former DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin, is now facing an investigation from U.S. senators over his firm's role in the $143 million Department of Homeland Security advertising contract. The company, the Strategy Group, which confirmed it, received a subcontract. And by the way, our money is just going out the window with all this nepotism and it is just cronyism, and it's just our tax money that we worked for, the people they despise, the people they ridicule and put down. Our money is flying out the door to their already rich buddies. Anywho, the contract was awarded to Safe America Media, a company reportedly created just days. They created the company days before receiving the $143 million no bid deal. That firm then subcontracted work to Yoho's company while his wife was serving as Assistant Secretary to Homeland Security for Public Affairs. Raising serious conflict of interest concerns. Currently under investigation. Wow. It's great. Yeah, I think it is an earthquake. I think it's crazy. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm working with it. It's giving me what for, but I'm working with it. My paparazzi today. I just got this from Hannah Bear. Hannah's Diamonds and Glitz, I think is what it's called. Hannah Bear. I just love it. I love the color in it. It has a different I don't know. It's like the browns, but yet a little pinkish in it. Yeah, like that pink gold almost. I don't know. I love it. And it matched perfectly with these. And these are all paparazzi, $8 a piece. Nothing, huge. And this is an urban piece from paparazzi. I just wore it with it as well because I loved how it gave it a little bit more definition. And then my little paparazzi stack, a little mini stack today. I don't do a whole big old stack because they just, I didn't really need all that today. But I love it. I love it. I love supporting my sisters. I love not letting our dollars leave our community right away. I love spending them right here whenever I can. That's why I miss our old watermelon man and our vegetable guy who used to come down. I love getting that fresh cucumber and that fresh tomato. Wow. I think there is a civil war right now going on in the white community. They think the division is just us. No. It is incredible how they are rallying. They are coming out. They're getting injured. Some of them are losing their lives. This is costing them revenue, jobs, and they are committed. Some of it, there's like, I will die on this hill. This will not be who we are. Wow. I don't know what to say about it. Hey, thanks for joining me today, brother. Wow. Anyway, Trump's DOJ is facing a potential official is facing a disbarment. But thank you very much. After alleged scheme to punish Georgetown for teaching diversity. Georgetown University. Yeah. They didn't want them to teach diversity. But anyway, when he was questioned about it, he couldn't even name what DEI was, which is always funny to me, how they have this stuff and everybody's in on it and they can't even explain what it is. Yeah, it's crazy. He couldn't even explain it. Anyway, before Georgetown even had a chance to respond to his accusation, he announced that he would refuse internships and fellowships or employment opportunities to Georgetown law students and graduates. Yeah. Wow. It's violating their First and Fifth Amendments. In other words, the federal prosecutor threatening career retaliation, because these are career positions, against students because he didn't like the ideas being taught at their school. Wow. An ethics complaint ensued, of course. He's also accused of violating his oath to support the Constitution, engaging in improper communications with a judge, and interfering with the administration of justice. When the investigation into his behavior began, instead of following normal legal procedures, you mean from this law and order administration that never met a law they didn't want to break? Anyway, Martin reportedly tried to go around them, contacting the chief judge of the D.C. Court of Appeals directly and asking for a meeting to find a way forward. The judge rejected the request, reminded him it would be improper. Martin then allegedly asked the court to suspend the disciplinary lawyer investigation, to suspend the disciplinary lawyer investigating him and dismiss the case altogether. Yeah. If proven, the violations could ultimately lead to disbarment, though such cases often take years to resolve. I certainly believe he should be disbarred. Thanks for joining me, Wayne. Wow. Anyway, District Judge Matthew Brand ruled that Attorney General Pam Bondi illegally put 3 hand-picked loyalists in charge of the Power of Attorney's office in New Jersey at President's personal direction. The judge called the setup an unprecedented Byzantine power grab to avoid Senate confirmation. Trying to pack the courts. You've already packed the Supreme Court thanks to Mitch McConnell, obstructionist Mitch. You're going to wear it all the way out the door, sir. Do you like your handiwork? I know it's killing you. All that tacky gold all over the place as a representation of your beautiful Constitution as pigs trample all over it. And you deserve everything you get, sir. Yeah, you do. Anyway, it's an outrage. Showing calls on GOP's so-called Save America Act. Let's talk about the Save America Act. Save America Act. I've never gone to vote ever in my life when I didn't have to have identification. My identification has always been my driver's license. They don't even like to have passports because passports do not have your address on them. Your driver's license does. So I don't know where they're saying all these illegals are getting driver's licenses from. Last time I remember, I had to have things like birth certificates and social security cards and things like that to get a driver's license. But then again, I've had one since I was 17. And since then, all I've done is renew them. Voting all my life. Been married a few times. So now, that same driver's license that I've been voting with, which is really not why they want them. They really want the rolls so they can purge voters and say that I'm dead, or say that you don't exist, or say that you didn't register, or anything they want to say to kick enough of us off. But I think you're going to shoot yourself in the foot with this one. I think you are. Because passports cost almost $200 to get. 4 to 6 weeks, unless you pay more money to get it rushed. Yeah. In a household with 3 or 4 people that vote, you're getting almost $1,000 of money per household. That's a poll tax. Whether they can get those IDs, those driver's license, those birth certificates and all those things or not. That's going to take time. If they don't have it, I've got to wait to go get it. I can't take a day off from job. That costs money to take a day off from work to go get that passport. That's a poll tax. Stop the nonsense. You cannot get a driver's license as an illegal. That one time they had that law, that was a work. And it has a different logo and information on it that any voter identification person can clearly see. Poof, smoke and mirrors to try to rob you of your vote. And now the president wants to stronghold America into accepting it this close to the vote, where all of you probably couldn't get the paperwork back in time. And what does that do for us that like to vote early or in the mail? So this close to the vote because you're losing and you're afraid of going to jail for all the illegal acts of this law and order administration. That's what the Save America Act is. If you want to save the essence of what America is and is supposed to be, then get rid of that nonsense. Wow. It's just a simple plan to purge voters from the rolls, to send it through your wonderful little Doge system. I can tell you're doing things just by my simple searches and all the fake AI nonsense all over the place. But it's not working. We can still tell fake AI stories from the real McCoy. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. And to all the married women that got married and changed your name, you're going to have to go get those marriage certificates and find them. Yes. Your driver's license and passport isn't enough, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea if your maiden name. I haven't had my maiden name since I was in my early 20s. I'm 65 years old. You think you'd have it right by now, since I've always voted under my married name since my early 20s. Smoke and mirrors. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, meanwhile, in the Trumpstein files, dozens of victims of Jeffrey Epstein have filed a lawsuit against former Attorney General Pam Bondi. And I'd say, Cheerios. Long overdue. And against this administration. Yes, including the FBI. And even if it's the man at the top directing them, include him. Include them all. Wow, accusing her of helping conceal critical details during the early handling of the Epstein investigation. In fact, she was in the earlier stages. Yes, thank you very much. Anyway, I talked about last time, World War III started, pedophiles are running the entire criminal enterprise, because that's what it is, a criminal enterprise, because now they're starting to threaten judges. That's a cartel. But anyway, gas prices rising steadily, food prices rising, food supply shortages soon to follow, expected soon. Farmers going belly up, incurring massive losses, citizens suing to recoup tariff losses, 92,000 jobs lost in February alone, stock market taking down, that Dow is no longer 50,000, including cryptocurrency, citizens being gunned down in the streets by Hitler's brown shirts, locking up children, tolerating and covering up sex trafficking of children, bombing over 100 grade school children, and the amounts of our money that are just flying out the door right now are staggering. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Hegseth and his cronies are having an absolute ball with our hard-earned tax dollars. We ain't got no health care. We ain't got, except for that one they want to plan where you got a $30,000 deductible per year. So the first $30,000 I paid? Anyway, that's like that 50-year mortgage. Anyway, meanwhile, they've been parting off our hard-earned dollars. Yeah, in his unholy war. To the tune of nearly $250 million. On what you say? Well, $98,000 Steinway and Sons grand piano for the Air Force Chiefs of Staff's home. $5.3 million on Apple devices, like new iPads. Apple devices. $6.9 million in September alone. $15.1 million on ribeye steaks in September. Now, I don't even know them. And somebody said, well, would we deny our troops ribeye steaks? No, we would not. Did the steaks go to our troops or your crony buddies? Who got the steaks? Huh? Anywho, $124,000 on ice cream machines. Now, I'm pretty sure that's for them. $139,000 on 272 orders of donuts. That's $500 per order. Did you go to Dunkin' Donuts, baby? Where did you get your donuts from? 225, just the pork. The pork is, and $225 million on furniture, including $12,000 for fruit basket stands and over $60,000 in Herman Miller recliners. Wow, okay. You mean to tell me they didn't order none of them Trump shoes? Did y'all get the Trump shoes? Or does he place the order for you? Do you get to order your own Trump shoes? Because the first Trump shoes he ordered and made all the minions wear, some of them didn't quite fit. Anyway, people, are we great yet? Enjoy your liver. Yeah. To my black and brown soldiers, don't forget, it's your commemorative plaque that they're going to remove. Don't forget. It's your plaque because it made white people feel bad as you're giving your life for this country. Don't forget that. And also, don't forget, it's your contributions that will later be minimized and diminished as you're giving your lives, as you're losing your limbs. Know that them that sent you were never in the slightest chance of having been in that situation, yet so cavalierly placed you in it and treat you as a second-class citizen when you get back. Don't forget that. So while he's out there doing his little powwow and trying to wrap you up in the red, white, and blue, go fight, don't you forget Shoshana. The POW, the prisoner of war in Iraq, the black one, not the white one, the black one. There was a black female, yeah, her name was Shoshana. She didn't get her Lifetime movie. And she had to fight years later just to get her benefits at 50%. Just remember, while Hegseth is convincing you, we're all red, white, and blue. The same way they convince you when you're an officer and that you're all blue. Don't forget, in this unholy war, that is until it's time for you to come back and get benefits for you. Wow. Iran and Israel. I thought this was interesting. Someone posted this. Since we're all into this now and we have your undivided attention on this issue, these wars, biblical wars, have faced back to the beginning of time, so I won't even go there. Who's right, who's wrong? Israel doesn't belong there anyway. That's not the true Israel, the Hebrew people, blah, 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 blah. The arguments are exhaustive. I'm not really worried about if they're really Israel, because God is the one who does the siphoning out and the partially and division. So I can call myself Sally Slop. It don't matter. When I get there, he determines my end. That's why I'm always reluctant to do that. I would never want to find myself doing that to a black or brown person. And they really are Israel. They just happen to have my skin color. Anywho, to the black people, I thought this was interesting. He went and looked at the record of both places of Iran's history and Israel's history of how they treat their black and brown people. And I found this interesting simply because, let me just say this, get something to drink here. Simply because, the thing that's been interesting to me, especially with the Latino community, with all the things that they're facing right now, and we have not been out on the front lines because we simply know we've already fought this fight. And so they were, really upset with us in the beginning. How come you're not joining? And da, 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 da. And I thought to myself, well, I know there are Latino people that look like me in your community. How come I never see them on your stations? How come they're not your TV hosts or the ones you put forward, the singers that can sing that look like me? But you want me to come and put my body on the line for you when you disdain my skin color. Melanin is a really threatening thing. It threatens, I don't care what tone someone is, colorism. I mean, the darker the hues of melanism, it is just a threatening thing. It really is. And so this person looked at the record of Iran and Israel on black people. And so I looked at the record of Latino people on their black people. Maybe this is time for you to learn how the black and brown people of your individual communities have felt now that someone has made you feel that way, simply because of your color or ethnicity. Because all of you have darker communities. You do. Asian, Latinos, you name it. Israel, Iran, soldiers go everywhere, as did slavery. But they're always looked down upon in those communities. So anyway, we looked at the treatment of their record of treatment of blacks. The treatment of their black communities throughout history and up to and including today for Iran, as it says, has been shameful. In many cases, as bad as U.S. treatment of African Americans in the early 20th century. Most Americans, including, this is Iran, most Americans, including black Americans, have never heard of black Iranian population, including myself. True. These black people in Iran are not visitors, not tourists, not temporary workers. They are Afro-Iranians who have lived in Iran for centuries. They are concentrated primarily in the southern provinces in the Persian Gulf and cities like Hormozgan. Their numbers are anywhere from several 100,000 to 2 million. The origin of the Afro-Iranians is slavery. The Iranian slave trade predates the Atlantic slave trade and overlaps with the Arab slave trade. This was over a period of 1,000 years. This was now the least discussed slave trade periods in history, and slavery was not abolished in Iran until 1929. Today, Afro-Iranians live in a state of invisibility. They are among the poorest communities in the country and hold no political power. They are severely marginalized. The Farsi dictionary prints anti-black slurs, proof that racism born of the Persian slave trade stains everyday Iranian speech. Colorism runs rampant, I would say, in every single community. And today, in the southern districts where the Afro communities are, the government has neglected them the worst. Their communities are left with poor schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. Well, hey, beautiful lady, thanks for joining me today. I'm talking about Iran and Israel's records on their race relations with their black citizens who are black Armenians or black Israelis. And during the embassy hostage, and it goes on to say, their communities are left with the poorest schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. The recent protesters that we have witnessed have included the communities of the Afro-Iranians. During the embassy hostage taking by students in Tehran in 1979, however, 13 African Americans, all of the black hostages, were released. The students cited racial discrimination in America for their release. Now, I agree with that both ways. That could have been a humanitarian thing, like black people have been through enough. I'm sick and tired of the way y'all Americans treat them. We letting them go. Or it could have simply been, we know y'all don't care nothing about them. You ain't gonna give us a plug nickel for let them go. We can't use no more black people. They're not gonna give us nothing for. Could have been either or, buddy, either or. I don't know the motivations of the heart. I wasn't there. Anyway, Israel's record is worse. Not surprising. They're very racist. They spit at black people. They're very racist. As a matter of fact, when they were having all their shelters, they had to run to their shelters and be bombed. It was only for them. Not any of the others. Not the black Israelis. No. Just them. Reminded me of the Titanic, when only the wealthy could get out and the poor ones got locked down the bottom. It's something like that. Anyway, Israel markets itself to the world as the only democracy in the Middle East, a homeland for the Jewish people. However, if you are a black Jewish person in Israel, the homeland has a much different meaning. There are approximately 170,000 Ethiopian Jews living in Israel today. I found the Ethiopian right in the scripture, standing right by him, listening to the word. Anyway, today, their connection to Judaism goes back thousands of years. They originated from the tribe of Dan, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Thousands of Ethiopians were rescued and brought to Israel. However, once they arrived, they were kept in absorption camps, which were more like our holding facilities to separate them. Not that kind of Israeli. They were subject to cultural erasure and told that Judaism was not Jewish enough. Melanin can do that to you. Anyway, one of the worst scandals back in 2013 was when Black Jewish Ethiopian women were given long-acting birth control injections. Ethiopian Jews in Israel experienced systemic discrimination, lower wages, highest poverty rates, schools and housing are chronically underfunded, police brutality sparked mass protests. Sound familiar? Few ever make it to Israeli universities. The parallels to Black Lives Matter are hard to ignore. Needless to say, if you're Black in Israel, you face the same issues with Benjamin Netanyahu as do Black Americans in the United States with Trump. To sum it up, both nations have failed their Black communities. Iran built a Black population through slavery, then pretended they didn't exist. Israel rescued Black African Jews, then treated them as second-class citizens in their own promised land. Both nations are asking for support, including the one you live in, that will remove your plaque. Suddenly, Black and brown bodies are a necessity. Anyway, Al-Fua has no shame. Now he's hawking information off of his social media line. Yeah. Instead of giving the citizens our daily briefings of what's going on, why did you start this war? Well, thank you for the stars, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. You know, why did you start this war? Why did you just bomb innocent children? That blood is on your hands. And we fear the wrath that comes from it. Wow. That's right. We don't matter. You got guards. You got money. You got planes. You can get away. Anyhow, now he's selling it to people privately. You got to listen to this pitch. It's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It's one of the most insane pay-for-play schemes of all time. Trump has sent out fundraising now, wanting money, offering a national security briefing membership to his fans. Could you get any tackier? Any cheaper? Any lower? Anyhow, these final spots are reserved, he says, for my strongest supporters. You're one of them, in capital letters. This is no ordinary membership. No, receive now. As a national security briefing member, you'll receive my private national security briefings, unfiltered updates on the threats facing America. The straight truth on border invasions. Your minions are this stupid? Anyway, foreign adversaries, deep state sabotage, and every danger. The fake news highs. Dun, 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 dun. And you'll get the inside scoop direct from me, President Trump. Dun, 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 dun. And the leader who's rebuilt the greatest military in history. More like tearing it down, humiliating and degrading. Anyway, and put America first. You mean you put Israel first? Anyway, like no one else. Yep, no one else did that, sir. No one else went over there and bombed 100 school kids. Yes, no one else. And no one else did what Bibi wanted, because Bibi wanted it and made Russia make all that money. Are you a Trojan horse? Are you a Russian asset? I'm the strong commander who stares down tyrants. That's why Putin's going, cha-ching, cha-ching, we're in the money, we're in the money. What else is he getting right now? And leverage. Obliterates terrorists, he says, and never backs down. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No. It's Super Trump. Well, whatever. Anyway, it's super orange, I call it red. This is for patriots, he says, ready to stand with that kind of unbreakable strength. Are you men really this shallow and stupid that you need this? You need that kind of stroking? Yuck. That would make you a total Anyway, spots are extremely limited to keep it powerful and focused. They're running out fast since this just went public. Well, that's right. He think we dumb as a nickel. Girl, you better get that membership because we got our bunkers ready and we ready when this comes out. We going to find out for anybody. So you going to send him how much? How much? Anywho, secure your place in this elite group right now. Wow. While it would be just like Trump to just completely rip off his voters, which is a high possibility. So it means one of two things. Either you're completely being scammed, and you're getting the exact same information we're getting. Or, because we can get ours faster from the internet anyway. Or, he's doing something illegal. So which is it? Wow. Offering confidential national security information in exchange for money. So either it's fraud or it's a lie. Now, which one is it? The bar right now, y'all, is set in hell. I ain't gonna say the bar low. The bar is in hell. We digging low to get under the bar, okay? And it's built with tacky gold. Wow. Meanwhile, the chips off the old block, Eric and Donald, decided that they're going to get in on the drone business. Since we got our behinds kicked with all of our expensive bombs by some little cheap drones that are outnumbering us and wheedling down our supplies that we can't replenish fast enough. So now we're going to take some bigger ships out there because we're the big dog on the block who picked the fight in the first place. Anywho, they decided that, well, Dad's moving in this direction right now. Let's get our drone company out there so we can get those no big contracts. There you go. Donald Trump just announced that Arias Greenway Holdings, a company that operates two Orlando area golf courses, will merge with Powerus, a drone maker targeting Pentagon contracts. The deal is structured as a reverse merger to take Powerus public. The golf course holding company is becoming a military drone corporation overnight. Money, our tax dollars, we work for, people they despise. You know why I know it's our tax dollars? Who do they say are the biggest consumers in America? Who do they say are the biggest spenders? Where did that money come from? It sure ain't welfare. We work. We earn. We pay taxes. That's our money that you use to make laws to discriminate against us with. And then have the audacity to insult our intelligence as if we can't see your pitiful, pathetic sleight of hand. Anyway, their own investment bank, Dominari Securities, in which they each hold roughly 6% stakes, is handling the transaction. So they're going to get money hand over fist. Dominari is also raising about $9 million in financing from investors, including Unusual Machines, a drone parts company where Trump Jr. sits on the advisory board. They learned well. Wonder what Barron's learning. So father bans the competition, then the sons rush to fill the gap. And the investment bank they own brokers the deal. Are we great again yet, America? So tell me, MAGAs, what exactly did that put in your pockets as your sons and daughters go off to war? Wow. Interesting. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, Trump vows to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. Okay. We'll go with that. I guess we're sending our Navy over there, our ships now, because we obliterated Iran's Navy. So I don't understand why the Strait isn't already open if we obliterated their Navy. How are they keeping it shut then? And if they don't have a Navy, what do our naval ships do? Blow up their land more? For the fight that we started, that they retaliated against us in, but Except that Trump got the moral high ground. Manifest destiny, that's who they are. Yeah. Please. Lose me with the nonsense. You going to hell with gasoline draws on. But you ain't taking me down with you. I want no parts of none of that nonsense. Iran has closed the strait anyway. Yep, that's right. U.S. Energy Secretary told Fox News that many commercial oil tanker operators are rejecting Trump's proposal for U.S. military escorts through the Strait of Hormuz. Shipping companies are becoming increasingly reluctant to risk their vessels. And I'm sure the insurance companies are like, I ain't paying for that. You can go at your own risk. That's your vessel. Don't look at me. I'm not sending you a check. Thereby, traffic has fallen off about 85%. Meanwhile, Putin went around the back end, getting what he needs. You think that wasn't a part of the deal? Leverage. It's all about leverage. Wow. Anyway, summarily now, the U.S. is locked out. Out of Greenland, that's Canada and Denmark. Canada and Denmark have signed a historic Arctic Sovereignty Pact. It's a weird thing to really tick off your allies. They can go somewhere else. Especially when you ain't the best deal in town no more. I think you believe in your own hype a little bit too much. You got bombs, but you ain't the only one out here with bombs. And if you just as awful a fascist regime as the ones you talking about, like people deaf, dumb, blind, and crazy, like they can't see what you doing, you are no better than those that you say you're coming to rescue them from. I would expect people to make other alliances during this time. That is your new world order. Mr. What do y'all call him? Y'all's whatever? With the one with the golden statue. Your Dagon? Whatever you call him. I don't know. Anyway. They decide they got a sovereignty pact that effectively blocks any third country from acquiring or militarizing Greenland. Because you really twirl your tail over there. Anyway, without the approval of both nations. The agreement was signed in Copenhagen by Canadian leader Mark Carney and Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, with representatives from 26 countries present. The pact creates a mutual sovereignty guarantee, meaning any threat to Greenland is treated as a threat to Canada's Arctic territory. It also introduces a veto mechanism that requires both countries' approval for foreign military bases, resource extraction deals, or changes to Arctic territorial status. Okay. Supporters of the pact say it protects Arctic sovereignty and prevents powerful nations from pressuring smaller countries over strategic territory. Then we will form new alliances. We do not wish to be a part of you because our skin is white. I don't even think they like you. Like I said, there's a civil war going on right now. It ain't got nothing to do with us. One section and the other section has said, Yeah, that's what's happening. We're just being caught in the middle of it, I think, personally. Anyway, global power shakeup. Mark Carney puts Canada at the center of a $30 trillion alliance as Donald Trump watches from the outside, while a 40-nation trade network quietly forms behind closed doors. With the tariff master, it started as a quiet diplomatic trip, but within hours it exploded online. Carney reportedly launched a strategy connecting the European Union with booming Indo-Pacific economic bloc, creating what analysts say could become a 40-country, $30 trillion trade network with Canada sitting right in the middle. Meanwhile, Trump, who once mocked Canada as the 51st state, is now watching from the outside as the alliance gains momentum. Fans online can't believe how fast the narrative has flipped. So basically, Trump gave Canada the bird. I do what I want. You ain't nothing. You just a little piss hand on the side of America. You're not a country. You don't tell us. You don't regulate. I'm going to take over Greenland. I'll take Venezuela. I'll take whatever I want. I will covet whatever I want. That's his manifest destiny. However, Canada decided, and I guess our allies decided, no, you will not. Because we know where this story ends. It doesn't end. You keep going. And you run over everyone and covet everything you can get your hands on. And it's never enough. It's never enough money. It's never enough women. It's never enough power. It's never enough land. It's never enough authority for someone who clearly doesn't have a lot of time left for any of that. Amazing, isn't it? What you gonna do with all of that? Where you going? Nothing. Wow, that's amazing. Wow. Behind the scenes, insiders spent months of quiet negotiations were happening with leaders like Modi, Albanese, and Kishida. Wow. Build a massive economic network that doesn't rely on Washington. Meanwhile, Hegseth stumbled through his prepared remarks trying to dress up blood. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Sometimes I copy little segments because I want to remember what someone said, but usually I'll different paraphrase it, or sometimes I'll read it exactly as it is because the way that they said it was very powerful. And I usually will put it in quotation marks. And these are things I've already posted. And so I'll get ready to read them like, oh, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that out loud. I wouldn't say that. I don't curse people or call them names. I will say sometimes if you need it for the context or the severity, sometimes I will, but most times I leave it out. So that's why you'll see me bleep that out. But anyway, he went in, he gave a grand performance as he spoke about war, like it was a campaign rally. Like they're wearing their coats, their capes, their red, white, and blue cape. Get your capes. I'm surprised they ain't selling capes. I'm surprised they don't have red, white, and blue Trump capes for sale in the PX. Wow. Anyway, talking about death and destruction from the sky all day. Will rain death and destruction from the sky all day. That's what y'all got. Hey, that's what you voted for. Are we great again yet? No? Well, we just sacrificed 100 innocent children on the altar of your Molech. Are we great yet? What is in your coffers? You voted for this. What did you get out of it? Anyway, I didn't vote for this. I don't want none of that smoke. Don't none of that blood belong to me. He bragging death and destruction of little children that we initiated. But you know how they tell their story. Their cowboys are always the hero when they covet someone else's land. And the other ones are savages. Anyway, he declared the Iranian regime was toast. These are professionals. Anyway, and he smiled as he said it. Did you smile as you saw the bloodied limbs of the little children in the rubble? Did you smile as their little bloodied backpacks were dug out with the lunches still in them that had been packed for them that morning? Did you smile and iron your little cape as only pieces could be recovered from some, not even dental records? Did you smile as you saw the rows and rows and rows and rows of graves for the children? The party that loves children when they're not born, and if they're your race. Otherwise, they're expendable. Whatever. Anyway, he goes on to declare how great he is and how great they are and how great they are and how great they are. And Bible verse after Bible verse, he tops it off, his heresy, with a Bible verse. Put some whipped cream on that thing. Invoking the name of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord. My rock. Making you want to throw a rock. And I'm a Christian. Anyway, Trump vows to block all legislation unless the SAVE Act is passed. Yeah. I just told you about that one earlier, having to present your identification. We already present identification. Presenting identification is not a problem. I present my same driver's license every time. Been driving since I was 17. Now all of a sudden I'm not me. Because I got married, fingerprints the same, been in the military. Same social security number. Lose us with this nonsense. You want the voting rolls so you can purge them. Lying through your teeth. Wow. Anyway, the agency that is intended to secure national security used American munitions to bomb the 165 children. Wow. 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 Anyway, meanwhile, while we're trying to get the chance to vote, they're trying to stop that. Now they want to stop the watchdog people. You know the people that do nothing but just stand behind your table and make sure no one harasses you, intimidates you, or tries to influence you once you're there to vote, once you come inside. And they cannot come but so close to you when you come in. They can stand there with their little flyers. ICE can be there, but is ICE going to be there to intimidate us this time? So you can start, right? What's going to be happening this time to keep you out of jail and keep us off the Trumpstein files? It ain't going to go away. It's going to be like a millstone around your neck. Anyway, they want to eliminate those people that watch. That's all they do. So they don't want nobody watching. Like I said, take your cell phones, record yourself voting. Record what they do when you show them your ID. Record your ID. Got the place online to show what you show them. Liars, hypocrites, thieves. Oh my God. It's stop the steal. Unless you want to keep going in this vein and lose your children and pay a $30,000 deductible for your life insurance. And that gas bill going up and up and up, ain't it, baby? And you want those AI facilities in your community driving your electric bill. Keep going. No, he gonna get to the oil, the water, the air, gonna be polluted, the toxins that are being invited back with your no vaccine having measles all over the place. Just keep on going. You're gonna be one of those crap hole countries, third world countries he talked about soon, that no one wants to trade with soon. But you're gonna get what you asked for. You got a Republican Supreme Court. You got a Republican president. You got a Republican Congress. You got a Republican Senate. And you got a Republican nasty mess. Pedophiles all over the place. Criminals raking in fraud. Massive fraud. Meanwhile, Trump declares he'll pick the next regime. Iran picked their own. Khomeini's son. Trump declares Iran ceasefire. Iran refused a ceasefire and made the following demands. Hand Netanyahu to ICC. Withdraw to October 7 borders. Cancel Trump's Gaza plan. Lift all sanctions and return frozen funds. Recognize Iran's nuclear rights. Leave Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen. Evacuate all U.S. bases from Arab soil. Compensate Iran for every sanction ever imposed. Hey, Mr. Harrison, thanks for joining me. That didn't sound like he was ready to cease fire. Wow. Okay, well, I guess we'll just keep on going. And you've already heard that Noam's replacement, Mullen, withdrew his name. Rightfully so. What a disaster. Anyway, one disaster. Only the best. 30 million drones being outgunned by $20 drones. I did say that. Yeah, so now we're going to be building more drones. I think we've been outmaneuvered. That sounds like we were outmaneuvered and ill-prepared. Since bombing kids wasn't going over well, Hegseth decided after reading his scripture and consulting his spiritual advisors that our troops were on a holy mission, which I told you last week doesn't make any sense to me because what he's talking about, if this is Armageddon, the church should already be gone, which meant we didn't miss the rapture, but that. Their separation of church and state, properly so. Anyway, I gave you the scriptures about Armageddon. It's the rapture, it's the 7 bowl judgments, then it's the war of Armageddon, where Christ comes back with his heavenly army, which is not the US of A, unfortunately. And by the way, it started by, the ones that start the war, who he said we were. It started by an unholy trinity. Satan, the dragon, the Antichrist, the beast, and the false prophet. Those are the ones that start to kick the whole thing off. And they send out demonic spirits to gather kings and armies of the entire world to battle against God. Okay? Demon-possessed spirits come from judgment is actually against those who receive the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is what you will receive in your head or forehand, which will allow you to be able to buy and sell at some point. We will no longer be able to buy and sell unless we receive it. Well, they will receive the first judgment, a bowl judgment, which is boils and sores. You got that coming. Look forward to that. That will happen before Armageddon battle. Okay? So, dear American Christians, I'm going to end with this. Do you know what Arabic-speaking Christians call Allah? Do you know what Arabic-speaking Christians say God, what they call Allah, God? They call him Allah. Do you know how Arabic-speaking Christians say God is great? They say Allah Akbar. That's all that means. God is great. Why it's such a big deal, I don't know, because a lot of the scriptures was in Arabic back in the day. We forget. The scripture didn't come in English. It didn't come in King James Version. But we get on our high and mighty white horse. You got to speak the King's English. It didn't come in that to begin with. It's Latin, Greek. It depends on the people of the day. You got to go back and study all that. That's a whole study. Okay? Anyway, the words are not foreign to Christianity. They're Arabic. Long before modern political conflicts, Arabic-speaking Christians used these words in their prayers, liturgies, and scriptures to worship the same God. They have always confessed the God of Abraham. Christians, Muslims, and Jews do not share the same theology. Our understandings of God, revelation, and salvation differ in profound ways. Yes, they do. Yet all three traditions begin with the story of Abraham and the conviction that there is one Creator who made heaven and earth. In the times of war and fear, it's easy for suspicion, hatred, and religious and bigotry, which is what this current administration wants us to do, to spread. But as followers of Jesus, we must resist the temptation to turn an entire people into enemies. Hostility toward Muslims as a people is not Christian faithfulness or national, whatever you call yourselves. It is fear masquerading as righteousness. It is time I cannot help but think of the similarities of how Jews and Samaritans felt about one another in Jesus' time. Because you remember he said, we don't have any dealings with each other, Jews and Samaritans. I ain't gonna deal with them. Social divide. And I would beg you to keep those things in mind today. Time and time again, Jesus, as a Jew, tried to bridge those divides. He spoke to the Samaritan woman. He spoke to them right where they were. I remember once meeting an Asian woman. I'll never forget this. She was in a little convenience store. And I saw her. I talked to her every day when I came in and got stuff. And she had her little Bible open. And I was with my friend Regina. And I've never seen an Asian Bible. The writing was up and down on the page, and it was like in like their writing. But I could tell it was a Bible because of the leather and everything. And I thought, I assumed it was a Buddhist Bible. That's some racist stuff, I know. And something I just saw on TV, TV. And so I understand when you say stuff about me that's crazy, because it's what we get. And so I said, I kept looking, I said, is that a Bible? Like the whole Bible? She looked at me, she put her pencil down, she said, yeah, what you think? You only want half? And I said, Arlene, that is some racist stuff. Because I did not see them as Christian. Because movies, TV, magazines, books, our education system pollute you with biases. And I said, you are right. I'm like, God, you are right when you judge. I said, and we're going to correct that right now. And she smiled. And I said, you got me. You got me. You got me good. All I can say is amen. But it was amazing how insidious it was and easy for that to be there. And so I don't want you to fall for that right now. As you see all the things that are going on, and you're going to be told to hate this one and hate this one and hate that one. Remember, he said, I have other sheep that are not of this fold. We're not the only children of God. He has children of God everywhere, in lots of different lands, and lots of different places. And when you go in and decide, I'm going to bomb them all, even God didn't do that in Sodom and Gomorrah. He said if it's 10 that are holy, if it's just one. You know which one was? The one that got pulled out of that mess. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all this week. Y'all stay safe. I'll be time. I'm out. Stay blessed.